From the ground, it looks like a standard free-fall bomb, a sleek, heavy cylinder dropping through the clouds, aimed at a single target. But thousands of feet in the air, long before it ever hits the earth, the shell splits open. This is a cluster munition. It operates like a flying cargo container, a hollow delivery shell packed with dozens, sometimes hundreds, of smaller, independent explosives known as submunitions or bomblets. When that casing opens midair, the aerodynamics completely change. Instead of creating one deep, localized impact crater, the bomblets fan out. They scatter in the wind, engineered to blanket a massive geographical grid with simultaneous overlapping explosions. Releasing hundreds of free-falling explosives in the sky means giving up control over exactly where they land. The military is intentionally trading pinpoint accuracy for absolute area denial. To a military tactician, this lack of precision is the core feature of the weapon. They evaluate these systems based on what they call their footprint. This diagram illustrates the sheer scale of that footprint. A single, unguided M26 rocket can saturate 57 acres of land in explosives. That is an area roughly the size of 43 American football fields, covered by a single trigger pull. This satellite image shows exactly why an army wants that kind of spread: to destroy wide infrastructure like an enemy airbase, or neutralize infantry units scattered across a dense forest. A single pinpoint explosion leaves most of the target intact. The United States Army tracked the data on this efficiency during the Vietnam War. They found that, on average, it took 13.6 standard high-explosive artillery shells to kill one enemy soldier. Using cluster munitions, that number dropped to 1.7 shells. On paper, the cluster gun perfectly solves a difficult tactical problem. It is a highly efficient, mathematically proven tool for clearing wide zones of dispersed targets. But the math breaks down the second these bomblets hit the earth, because a significant percentage of them do not explode. We call these remnants unexploded ordnance, or UXO, explosive weapons that failed to detonate as intended and remain active hazards. These submunitions are engineered to detonate on impact, yet decades of combat data reveal a glaring mechanical inconsistency. Depending on the specific model, the weather, and the terrain, failure rates range from 2% to well over 40%. Look at the compounding math of a single drop. If one shell contains 200 submunitions, and we apply a conservative 10% failure rate, that single strike leaves 20 live explosives buried in the dirt. Now scale that up to a full military campaign. During the 2003 invasion of Iraq, coalition forces dropped roughly 13,000 cluster munitions. That failure rate leaves hundreds of thousands of highly sensitive, active explosives abandoned across the country. These are the actual duds. They are small, heavily encased in durable metal, and easily swallowed by topsoil, tall grass, or urban debris. The exact moment the battle is over, that failure rate instantly converts a former conflict zone into a massive, hidden minefield. The danger to non-combatants returning home is driven by a specific design flaw: the visible shape and color of the unexploded duds. Take the American-made BLU-97/B submunition. The BLU-97/B is a combined effects bomblet designed for armor penetration and fragmentation. Engineers painted these specific bomblets a bright, high-visibility yellow. The logic was humanitarian: make the unexploded duds stand out so civilians know to avoid them. That design choice backfired. To a young child scanning a ruined field, a brightly colored, soda can-sized object appears to be a toy rather than a lethal military threat. This specific catastrophe unfolded during the war in Afghanistan. U.S. forces airdropped humanitarian daily rations to feed starving civilians. This photograph shows the ration on the left and the BLU-97/B bomblet on the right. They share a nearly identical bright yellow casing. The weapon's physical design transforms a lingering hazard into an inadvertent trap for those returning to rebuild. A standard rifle bullet is harmless once it embeds in a tree. A cluster bomblet remains lethal for decades. Between 1964 and 1973, the United States dropped roughly 260 million cluster bomblets on Laos. Today, an estimated 80 million of those submunitions failed to detonate and remain active in the soil. Half a century after the bombing stopped, Laotian civilians, mostly farmers and children, are still triggering these rusted explosives, causing hundreds of casualties every single year. Laos is the oldest extreme. We see this identical contamination cycle right now in Iraq, Lebanon, Syria, and Ukraine. Every strike adds years of cleanup. The statistics compiled by clearance organizations are clear. When we look at recorded cluster munition casualties globally, 98% of the victims are civilians. 27% of them are children. A cluster munition does not recognize a ceasefire. Its lethal life cycle extends for generations beyond the political conflict that authorized its use. This staggering civilian toll eventually triggered a major diplomatic response. In May 2008, an international treaty known as the Convention on Cluster Munitions was adopted in Dublin, Ireland. Stemming from a diplomatic initiative called the Oslo process, over 100 nations agreed to completely outlaw the use, stockpiling, and production of these weapons under international law. This map shows the geopolitical reality of that treaty. While over 100 countries signed on, several of the world's largest military powers, including the United States, Russia, and China, explicitly refused to join. The U.S. Department of Defense claims cluster munitions are an essential component of their war strategy. They have pledged to eliminate older stockpiles and only deploy versions with an unexploded dud rate of less than 1%, though they have continually failed to meet that safety standard. International humanitarian law is currently deadlocked against military pragmatism. The superpowers refuse to discard a tactically superior weapon, despite the clear human cost. That pragmatism is dominating the battlefield right now. Following the 2022 invasion, both sides have heavily deployed cluster munitions across Ukraine. By July 2023, facing severe ammunition shortages for standard 155mm artillery systems, the United States bypassed its own internal laws regarding dud rate limits to supply Ukraine with millions of additional cluster rounds. This photograph shows what happens after the artillery falls silent. Clearing the footprint of a single strike requires a grueling human effort, a dangerous sweep of the soil that will occupy clearance teams for decades to come. The exact mechanical trait that makes a cluster bomb a devastatingly efficient tool for 30 seconds of combat guarantees it will remain a humanitarian nightmare for 50 years of peace.